Hi there again, everybody. Welcome back to All Things Auction, the podcast. This is where me and Chris sit and talk about anything that we can think of really to do with the auction industry, Prestige Auctions itself, buying and selling, you name it. We talk about it, don't we?
Anything and everything.
Lots of people enjoyed the podcast last week. Lots of people told us, and I don't think that had anything to do with Dave. I just think that had a lot to do with a lot to do with.
Well, he brings a lot to the party, doesn't he? No.
Yeah. Usually like things on sticks and bags of crisps, but no, the people were they quite liked the idea of how open we were talking about, the business, the behind the scenes things to do with the business, and the things that people don't get to see when it comes to auctions, and I think that the way we do things down here at Prestige is quite open and transparent, so we do like to talk to people about.
A lot of places try and keep it quite mysterious, don't they? How they work.
Yeah, I don't get that.
No,
I don't get it. I get it. If you was the Coca-Cola company, and you're hiding your secret, but it's an auction industry, and it's a buying and selling industry, and it's almost like the dealers of yesteryear, the old-fashioned dealers that keep all the knowledge to themselves. There's a bit of me that does get it. I do get it, to be fair, because the more knowledge you hold back, the bigger advantage, in theory, you've got.
I think that's just old school now. I think that's just in the past.
Yeah, but
I think nearly everything's so much more open and covered these days. You kind of expect that level of openness, don't you?
Yeah.
Fly on the wall documentaries. You know how everything works.
I get a lot of grief on this podcast on the comments.
Why? Because you're constantly talking.
Because I'm constantly talking. All right. But I did last week. I was purposely trying to let you and Dave talk, and then I would say something. I'd get like 3 words back, and then you can't have blank spots because if you sort of sit there all quiet on a podcast, then it's not really a podcast.
That's
is it?
Because there's not enough beer.
Well, this is true.
There's no beer this week.
I didn't realise. I mean, we've not put this out to any other sort of platforms other than YouTube at the moment. And some people have been telling me that they don't actually watch it; they just listen to it.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's just us sort of slobbing it out on a settee, isn't it? Really, we're not really.
We might be too attractive for television. Can't
Do you
handle
think?
it. Yeah.
Maybe that's it then.
Start signing things and doing T-shirts.
I'm not quite so sure on that one, but we have got a special guest coming on soon, which we'll introduce that one when they get here, and also
it is Jane, isn't it?
It's not Jane. No, it's not Jane. I don't think Jane McDonald's really that bothered, to be fair. But then, anyway, let's talk about the week that was. So, what an auction!
Yeah,
what an auction! The auction last week was, without doubt, up there with one of the best we've ever had.
Biggest one to date, isn't it?
I think it was the biggest one in terms of lots. I mean, am I honest? 1,597 lots. It's too many. It is too many. It's hard up there to sit and do that for that length of time.
I would have said that were too much for people to come and attend, because it makes it a long day. But at 8 o'clock the room was busy. By the time it set off at 9 o'clock, it was packed, and it stayed that way all the way right to the end.
The whole day, yeah. I mean,
I thought there'd be nobody at the end, and I could have hoovered up some bargains, but.
It wasn't happening, was it?
No.
People were there, they like what they'd seen, they like what they'd seen on the sneak peeks and the various videos that we did through the week, and they just come in the bid, and it kind of blew me away a little bit, actually, some of the bids that we got on things, and the amount of times, I mentioned this on yesterday's Aftermath, when the dealer that left the bid on the Royal Albert Country Rose got beaten, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'd seen that bid and thought, 2/3 of the price, I think you'll probably get that for. There's always plenty of bids on that stuff, so you know it's going to go up there. But he left an extremely strong bid and then got taken out in the room.
Yeah.
And that surprised me.
Yesterday. Saturday was the day you had to be in the room. If you'd left bids, they were just getting blown out, weren't they?
Yeah, lots of people.
You had to be in the room.
Got to say that in terms of the room this week, I now make all the phone calls at just gone 9 o'clock on a Monday. I didn't have quite as many to make this week.
Non-collected.
I think it was 21 last week, 12 this week, people that are still not collecting. and the ones that are still not collecting are still quite blasé when you ring them. Oh yeah, I'll be there later.
Yeah.
Like it don't matter. But so we are getting on top of that now. We before we go and talk about last week's auction, I just want to talk about something that's quite important to anybody that uses Prestige Auctions. So if you book something in as a private vendor, of course, I was having my moan before the auction on Saturday about how much problem we did it on the podcast as well. Oh, hello, our special guest has arrived.
Hello.
Come in, Lisa. Come and sit down. Yes, everybody, Lisa has agreed to come on the podcast this week. So what we need you to do, Lisa, is just sit down just for a second, just while we finish talking about what we're talking about.
Don't forget you've got to put the pins in the door.
No, we don't need you to come in and just start generally chatting. That's not how the podcast works. So what we picked it up on the podcast last week and also before the auction on Saturday about the amount of issues that we get with people not picking the not solds up, not picking their items up. We're starting to get on top of the picking up their items. There was less there this week, but the not solds was still a problem. So we introduced something that we said we was going to introduce. Every person that now brings a private lot into the room or lots is being issued with an A4 bit of paper to read the terms and conditions of what they're signing up to before they bring anything over the threshold. And basically that list states that there will be a £2 lotting fee, 10% commission, everything's plus VAT. Also that it's up to you to come and to ring us up on the designated number that we've set up or that we have already to say, look, on a Sunday morning or on a Saturday evening, have I got any not solds? Well, if you have, then you need to come and pick them up before 9 o'clock on Monday morning. If you haven't picked them up before 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, they'll get disposed of and you'll get charged disposal fee. It's not that we're being nasty, it's not that we're being horrible, it's that, the staff, Lisa here, trying to manage that room on a week-to-week basis, and it's hard as it is without falling over everybody's gear. So that's the way it is now. That's the way it's got to be, and we will be implementing it from this next week. And we don't. And to be honest, we don't mind tipping people's not solds if we know and we charge them for it because we have to pay for it, of course.
You've got to make a decision and get it out of the building, haven't you? So
yeah, I mean, what we did find today at the door was people saying, "Well, can I have a look and see what not solds don't sell?" Well, no, you've either we can't have people in the auction room messing about either. This is a very, very busy place. Anyway.
I remember that day that bloke came in and had a look around and we didn't even know he was in the building.
But I'm covered in yellow
He
stickers.
got yellow stickers all over him.
I hit the roof,
We didn't know where they'd come from.
I hit the roof.
So anyway, we promised you a special guest last week, and here she is. Lisa doesn't really like to come onto the podcast. We've tried to get her on a few times. I know she has done little bits and bobs, but basically what we're doing today is we've got Lisa on the settee with us, and we are going to ply her with questions as we do everybody else that comes in. Now, of course, we have only got 2 microphones, so we do have to get in a little bit close because if not, but then you are reasonably what's the word I'm looking for? Loud, that's the one. So we'll probably pick you up on most of the mics in the whole building. So, Lisa, why did you decide that you want to come on the podcast with us?
Because you've been asking me every week for like a year, and every week I've said no. And I just thought, to shut you up, I'll come on.
I don't think that's quite true, Chris, to be fair, do you? Because I seem to remember last week Lisa offering herself up for the podcast.
Yeah, because I'm sick of you asking me. Come on it.
Well, people like to hear your thoughts on things because clearly you're the favourite when it comes to a Saturday, when it comes to the auctioneering, and obviously you're not the favourite when it comes to the vendors. You're the favourite when it comes to the buyers.
No, I'm not the favourite when it comes to the vendors. Definitely not. No,
because they either want somebody up there that's going to sell the stuff or get it through it quick. And
I was thinking more that they don't want to ever talk to me. Nothing about my auctioneering skills. I was thinking about because they don't want to speak to me because I ain't got the knowledge.
So let's just touch upon this. Let's just touch upon this a little bit because this is Chris. This is something that winds Lisa up.
The knowledge.
No, not the knowledge. The fact that people come into the room and they'll say, "Can I speak to Carl, please?" And Lisa will go, "Oh, he's not around at the minute. Can I help?" They'll go, "Oh no, I want to speak to Carl."
That don't happen so much these days.
It does. It happened on Friday.
It happened on Friday this last week.
And it was, and hang on, who was it that could sort it all out? Because they needed the diary? Me.
I think it's...
I've heard it in the past, but I haven't heard it for ages.
Yeah, it happened on Friday.
It does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where people will particularly
And
want to
9
talk to me.
times out of 10, it is me they need.
Yeah,
They just don't realise it because it's me with the diary, and they just don't realise it. So when they've finished talking to Carl, and Carl will then say, "Well, right, we need to go see Lisa." But it is how it is. It doesn't offend me anymore.
Don't worry, I'm just making sure we get you on the mic. That's all.
You will.
I'm sure we will. So, I know it doesn't offend you anymore, but
It
used to really upset you, didn't
yeah,
it?
it did. It used to really upset
But
me.
then there are. I think one of the things we've picked up quite a lot on the podcast in the past is that, you know, we have all got our own area of expertise in the business, haven't we?
Yeah.
So what's yours?
I ain't got any.
Well, you
I
have.
just do me thing on a day and get through each day. Each day I have a certain set of. I'm like Liam Neeson in Taken. I have a certain set of skills every day.
It's organisation, isn't it?
And if I have a tick sheet. And if I don't do a certain job on a certain day, then my chakras are all out and my week's gone to pot. So I have a tick sheet where I have to do certain jobs on certain days by certain times. And I know that sounds really, really silly. But if I haven't hit a certain point by a certain time on a certain day, that's it.
It is a
So, Lisa, one of the things that we want to talk to you about is people often, all they see is Lisa sat in the office, Lisa out in the auction room on a Monday and doing all the things that you do at Prestige. But obviously there's a bit of a backstory to Lisa. So when you was going through Matthew Ulmerston School, I know because one of the customers brought a picture in once of you, which is this picture you can see at the top of your screen right there. The one with the little circle around her, that's Lisa, believe it or not. That's how old was you there?
I'd have been 12 or 13.
Yeah, you look like you was
Feral.
full of trouble. I think I was going to say. But obviously, you know, you went through Matthew Ulmerston School, and then when you left school, not many people know this, but I know this. And,
Well, I hope you do.
Lisa were trained to be a dental nurse.
Yes, I did.
You did, didn't you?
At Stephen Dixon's dental surgery on, is it Cromwell Road? Cromwell Road, yeah.
On a YTS scheme.
On a YTS, yeah. I got £29.50 a week for 40 odd hours.
Yoss's training scheme. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Gives it a job.
Gives a job.
Gives a
I can
job.
do that.
Yeah, no, I did.
So what happened?
I got sacked.
Did you?
Yeah, and then I
Why?
went, I don't know. I don't think it was for me.
You don't?
No.
Okay, so after that, I mean, obviously your ambition, I know what your ambition was that you've told me many times before. What did you actually want to be when you left school?
A mum.
A mum. And you achieved that with me.
Quite quickly.
Yeah, stitched me up there, didn't you?
Yep.
Quite quickly. And the thing is that you wanted to be a mum, and you was a very good mum. There's no doubt about that.
Thanks.
And you brought our boys up, which was pretty good. But then you started working again. Now you had a bit of time at Asda's, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
And
did quite a few years at Asda's.
yeah, did you enjoy that?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a laugh.
And then you.
I hit 30 and decided that I needed to do something with my life because the boys were growing up. That bit of me was done. They didn't need me as much. So I thought, right, I need to do something now. So I went back to college.
To be?
Teaching assistant.
A teaching assistant. Why did you choose becoming a teaching assistant?
Because it fit round my boys. I could have time off when they had time off. And I only had to work when they were at school. So the whole purpose was working in a school fit round the boys, so I could still spend as much time off with the boys as I possibly could.
And the thing was, I worked stupid amounts of hours, didn't I, back then? So
I needed to be around the boys.
And that's what you did. And
That's
then,
what I did for many years.
And you did okay, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then I think, is it fair to say you got quite disillusioned with it in the end, and walked away?
Yeah, after gaining quite a lot of qualifications, I just walked away from it. Said this isn't for me anymore.
At the time, as well as me working at Young's, I was setting up. Well, I had set up a house clearance business, hadn't I, over many years, and that was growing and growing. And we kind of looked at the books and decided that we could probably just about afford to take you on.
Yeah. And, so I left teaching after doing all my qualifications and what have you. Left teaching and set up. Well, I went to run the clearance business, didn't I? But I was going to originally run it from the conservatory, but then we was offered an opportunity, weren't we, where I had a shop. So we set that up and had 2 years in there. And I enjoyed that. I did enjoy it in there.
Yeah, the shop was okay.
I had a till.
It just got...
I always wanted a till.
It just...
I remember your shop.
We just outgrow it.
I did enjoy it.
Quickly.
Yeah, I remember it.
But and then of course Prestige Auction. So what I want you to do is I want you to tell people your early recollections of Prestige Auction. So bearing in mind you was at the shop. Yeah.
So I used to work at the shop 10 till 4. That was my opening hours. 10 till 4, and then at 4 o'clock I'd come down here and help out where I could. So I remember coming down here and the car park was just laden with stuff. And I did say out for the first few weeks, and I thought there's another way around this. You can be more organised. You can do a lot more. So after finding the guts to come forward and say, look, I think you're doing a crap job. I can do better. Let me have a go at it. And you saying, not a chance. And then we said, yeah, no, let me have a go at it. I know I can do better. But if I'm going to do it, it's going to be done my way. And you spat your dummy out a bit, didn't you?
I think the only reason being was that I had this idea of how I thought things should be done, and I was quite worried. You've got to remember, we was in the very early days of setting up an auction room in a town that already had an auction room. We had to be better. We had to be good. So we was trying to take some of their customers, which we did initially do. And I had this thing where I couldn't upset the dealers, and that's where, and I'm going to be honest, that's where I was going wrong, because I was so scared about upsetting certain people because I thought they would end up being our bread and butter. Lisa wanted to put some structure into the business. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I put structure in, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but my theory is, you treat everybody the same regardless of who they are or what they've got.
No favouritism.
No favouritism. Everybody gets treated the same, whether you've got 10 pence to your name or you're a multi-millionaire. It does not bother me.
But it wasn't about money.
No,
it was about people.
You're on about hierarchy within the community.
Some people can get away with stuff.
And I won't have that, because my theory is everybody should be treated the same, regardless. So that didn't faze me. If you either followed my rules and followed the rules of the auction room, or you didn't. It was as simple as that. But I proved within a very short space of time, putting rules in and structure and routine worked. And
they're still in place today, aren't they?
They are still in place today.
I think Lisa actually sort of worked harder on them, to be fair, because initially, when Prestige Auctions first opened, it was a case of you turned up on
Well, you had them turning up every day of the week.
Every day of the week, and you could just book stuff in.
Yeah.
And
No, you didn't book stuff in. You just rocked up to the door.
No. What
It's
I mean
a
by
learning
that
curve,
is
wasn't it?
people turned up and you booked them in.
But
That's what
so
you did.
Cal would have people turning up on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and then lotting up on a Thursday, viewing on a Friday. Well, then you've got no life, because you need to have, I don't care who you are or what you are, whether you own your own business or not, you need to have some time at home away from the place. And I know we don't get a lot now, but we still manage to get at least one day, whether we're working at home or not, we're still at home.
But you didn't start this business with an auction background.
No.
You started it from
Clearance
absolute
background.
zero.
Yeah.
So those rules are rules that you've made, not from an experience of running another auction. You did it from scratch.
Yeah.
What's interesting for people...
Do you know what I found useful? I fetched my my education background into the auction room.
Yeah.
So the structure, the routine, or everything that goes on in this auction room is based off of a school timetable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it's clockwork. That's how it runs like clockwork.
That's why it runs like clockwork, and we have to hit certain things at a certain time, because in a school you have certain things at a certain time. So I found that really easy to bring into the auction room world, because it's just about structure and routine. And if you've always worked with structure and routine, even down to being a mum and bringing the boys up, it's structure and routine, and you do certain things at certain times, like bath bottle and bed from 6 o'clock onwards and things like that. So I found that really useful in setting up the auction room how it is today.
Yeah, you can't bring a 3-piece suite in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, it's impossible. So that's why when people are booking in, I'll always say, what have you got? And then I'll say for instance, they have got a 3-piece suite or a wardrobe, and I'll say, get as close to 10 o'clock as you possibly can, because then we can put it in place. But if they say to me, we've got a settee and a wardrobe, but I can only get it to you at 3 o'clock, right, can you do another Monday then? Because we can't take that in at 3 o'clock. Not a chance. This room is going to be stacked, and you're not going to lift a settee over certain items. So, the structure and routine.
Those are things that customers won't know.
No.
Because without setting it up, you wouldn't know that.
No.
It probably seems really strange to have those rules, but until you've actually worked and filled the room up.
And I also think the team like the structure and routine of it. So, we're emptying out on a Sunday, we're bringing in on a Monday, we're lotting up on a Tuesday, we're day off Wednesday, Thursday, viewing Friday, auction Saturday. And especially on a Monday when the whole team's in together, that structure and routine is paramount in setting
your biggies in first.
That is paramount in setting that room up.
Yeah.
If we hadn't hit, like last Monday, I'd emptied 4 boxes by 8 o'clock. You'd done about as much as me by 8 o'clock, and then you've got your first trader in at 8 o'clock, and you're like, we are behind. We're 2 hours behind here. And that sets the mood then. That's why it was so pent up, I think, last Monday, because we knew we was on 2 hour backlog from the off, weren't we?
Yeah, you know from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think what is interesting to hear, though, is when you listen to some of the bigger traders, the bigger dealers and that, coming into the room now and actually saying, don't know how you do it. I don't know another auction room that does it. And some of these bigger traders go to a lot of auctions, and yet they don't know another one.
This is a difficult building.
Do what?
And this is a difficult
That's
building.
it. This building is not ideal anymore. It really isn't.
So we're working against
everything, all the time. But I don't know. It just works. The
way a routine around the building and the people.
Yeah, and it works, and it does work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does work. So
Lisa doesn't drink Stella.
I don't drink. No, not Stella.
So, but I think from the early days where you didn't really want to have anything to do with it to where you are now, would you say it's you enjoy it, or it's just become part of your life, or what?
I don't think one, running your own business, or two, owning an auction room can be a job. it's got to be part of your life.
It's a way of life,
it
isn't
is
it?
a way of life.
Yeah.
It's not a job. You don't get up in the morning and think, right, I'm going to work. You get up in the morning and think, right, I've got to do this today. Down at the auction room, it's not a, you don't think of it like a job. It is your life. It is part of your life. And I think that's what helps me in the boys having grown up and got married and got children of their own. Daniel and Ellie expecting their first one, because the boys don't need. I was struggling with the boys growing up and not having a purpose in life anymore. And I think having the auction room has filled that void, that the boys don't necessarily need me anymore because they've got wives and children of their own. So I'm not their go-to anymore. So I needed, because I had the boys young, really young. I was 18 when I had Stephen, 19 when I had Stephen, 18 when I fell pregnant. Daniel I had at 21. I was really, really young. So all I'd ever known throughout my adult life was looking after those two boys. I'd got nothing else. And then when the boys had grown up and met their future wives and what have you, and got married, I felt I'd got no purpose anymore. So I think the auction room coming at the time it did filled that void of not having a purpose in my life anymore, because now I feel like I've got a purpose again. Although I'm very, very close to the boys and I'm very aware that they're grown men now, the auction room has filled that void.
Because when you first started that, you would have had three or four people to kind of like worry about and look after.
You
and
couldn't
find
run
work.
this with kids. I couldn't have done this if the boys had both been at home as young boys. I couldn't have done this.
No, it takes too much.
Because this takes so much.
Yeah.
The boys took so much of my time up. This takes so much of my time up. You just couldn't do it. You couldn't devote, and I enjoyed devoting my life to my boys. Whereas now, because the boys are grown men, this has filled that void.
Yeah, it's about 7 of us that need looking after now.
So, but I think it helps with a lot, really. A lot. Because I struggled with the boys when they went off and did their own thing.
Yeah, well,
I
this
struggled
is
with it.
all consuming, isn't it?
So now I've got this, it just fills that void.
And not many people will see that emails come in at 11 o'clock at night. And,
I got one the other night laid in bed.
Yeah.
Laid in bed doing my Zen colouring, 11 o'clock, Gmail pops up.
Commissions at midnight.
Yeah.
3-4 o'clock in the
But
morning.
what I like about it now is, because it's your structure, your routine, where you're at, I can now devote my time to not so much Daniel and Ellie, because they're the other side of the world and we only get to see them now and again, but with Charlie and Brodie and Stephen and Lois, it's like every Wednesday, that's sort of my day to go and see.
Yeah, you put some time
Go
aside.
and see the grandchildren, and I see Stephen and I see Lois. Well, not always Stephen, because he's usually at work, but I do tend to.
Yeah,
I can divide my time up better, and then obviously when we take 2 weeks off, we go over to Qatar and see Daniel and Ellie, and this year it'll be the new baby as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good. I still get to spend time with the grandchildren, and I still get to spend time with the grown-up kids. It's just a different way of life, and that's what I was struggling with, because I'd been so young having the boys and I'd got used to that way of life. I was a mum and a housewife and a wife and what have you. To then turn it on its back, because I've done it probably back ways on. I've had my career after I've done the mum bit, whereas a lot of girls do the career then have children. I've done it the other way around.
Yeah.
I had children, then
There's no
I've had a
breaking it
career.
now, is there?
No.
Do you miss
Yeah.
your shop?
Do I miss my shop? Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore. I did. It took me a while, didn't it? It did take me a while, but no, I don't miss it now.
Yeah.
You can't. Because you kind of got a shop out there, haven't you?
I was just going to say, your displays for the auction are like setting up a shop, aren't they?
Yeah, I love doing my displays. I do like it when we get. Well, you know I do.
Yeah,
when we get a big
in.
collection of something, and I'll say, right, I'm coming in on Sunday night.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my display.
We come in on a Monday morning,
and it's all done.
Yeah,
yeah, I do like doing them. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, good. So, what do you think to the team that you've got now? And I know me and Chris sort of spoke about this a little bit last week, but you're probably the happiest you've ever been here.
Oh, I think the team
with
got
the team that we've
amazing. And we
because I think every team member now brings
something
a little bit something different. Don't
the spread of the ages.
Yeah, we've got a massive age
range. That's good, isn't it? Yeah,
we've got a massive age range. We've just got amazing people working in what we think is an amazing place. And I think because and I know this is going to be quite cliche because you all call me anyway, because I'm not normal. I think it works. No, it works.
I think it's.
There's nobody here that's just going through the motions.
No.
Like all them workplaces have got them people who just sort of like clock in and clock out.
I also think it helps that as somebody in charge, I'm not going to say the B word because I don't like being called that. Boss, that is, not the other B word. You all know I don't do hierarchy. So I think that helps in respect of I don't act like a boss. I act as part of the team.
Yeah.
And I think that helps massively, especially with the younger ones.
Oh yeah, when you're lifting pianos and stuff and things like that.
Yeah. It does help with the younger ones. Or does it? Does it help them for the future? Probably not, because they're then going to go into the next workplace and they are going to come across hierarchy.
Yeah.
Whereas
it doesn't
prepare them for that. But I can't do hierarchy. I never have ever. I never have ever. Will you get that out of my face? I've not done hierarchy ever, have I? I don't like it. I don't.
No, I see, I have, because my background is management.
Well, I have in the school. I've done hierarchy in the school, but I can't bring myself to be that person. I can't.
I think when you've been in sort of a corporate management workplace as well, where hierarchy is a real thing. I mean, you've got a lot of people that you're in charge of, but then you've got people that are in charge of you. And let's face it, I mean, I've mentioned in these podcasts many a times that I think hierarchy, corporate world, especially in factories, is very iffy anyway. I don't want to have a go at the people that I used to work with, because I worked with some bloody good people over the years. But I also worked with some absolute jumped up idiots as well.
That's where you get your workplace bullying, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of that where I used to work.
We haven't got any of that here.
No.
And
no, I mean, we all take the mickey out.
You just have one or two people, don't you? I mean, we had one in particular that just would get off on bullying people, sacking people,
making somebody else's day misery.
The more misery he reaped on people, the happier he was. And you sort of look back at that now and think, God, thank God I'm away from that.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm away from. And to be fair, I think you experienced that in your job as well, to a degree, where people give them a little bit of authority and it goes to their head.
Well, if they're having a tough bit of home life, they bring it into work, don't they?
Yeah.
And to be fair, we do to a degree, don't we? I mean, we all know about each other's home lives because because within this auction room, it is quite close knit, isn't it?
Well, there's no secrets.
There's no secrets here.
No.
And if we all know what's going on in each other's personal life, don't we? And I think also if you know somebody's going to be having a bad week, we try and lift it, don't we? By giving the banter and try and lift it. It's like this morning, we knew one of the team members had probably had a rough weekend, so straight away we acknowledged it, didn't we? And then we just got on with the banter and stuff.
Yeah, you do forget about problems, to be honest, when it's busy.
Yeah.
and we're all taking the mickey. We're having a laugh.
You forget about what's going on at home.
Yeah, you can come out of that problem quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And I've always been a big believer that, again, back to my management days, it was a case of treat everybody fairly and with respect. Have a bit of fun with them. Enjoy the day. Going to work and enjoying yourself makes work worthwhile going to. When you're going, I experienced this woman. That's all I'll say. That I used to be a supervisor at Bluecrest, which every member of staff would go, "Oh God, she's on shift." And if she was wearing a pair of sunglasses and she had a migraine, she was going to be 10 times worse. And to the point where, when you actually look back, this was workplace bullying.
Yeah.
People that would just bully. I mean, I remember this particular woman. She didn't like me, full stop. And each Friday night, if it was on 2 to 10, she would turn around and say, right, who am I going to let go home early tonight? And each week it was someone I thought, it's got to be my turn soon. And then this one week I'm stood there with the crowd of other guys who's face fitted. Was all in the same position, all team leaders. And she went, who am I going to let go this week? And she went, oh, not you. And I hated the bitch. I hated her. I still hate her to this day. And I just thought, because there was no need for it. There was no need to be like that. Just because you've got a little bit of power, And I ended up working with somebody right up till my final days at that business, which was exactly the same. Just no need for it.
I'm also mindful of the fact that without your team, you ain't got a business.
No.
If we're one man down, we really know about it, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but without the whole team, we ain't got business. It don't matter, whether there's me and Carl, we still need a team behind us to make this place run. And without that, and I respect that we need that team. I acknowledge that we need the team. And I think we've got a fantastic team. Whether they work 4 days, 2 days, or 1 day, it doesn't matter. You're part of the team.
We have got a fantastic team. I mean, we had something happen in here today where, I'd mentioned something last week about something that happened in the business, and it hadn't been implemented. So I had to talk to people this morning, and I know Lisa doesn't like this side of it, but it has to happen sometimes. There has still got to be that position where you've got to say, you haven't done the job properly. Because I mentioned it last week. If I hadn't mentioned it last week and this week would have been the first week, then, it's not having to go at people. It's just reminding them of their responsibilities. Ultimately, as much as we like to have no hierarchy and but we are running a business. And that business has to be, because if you allow things to drop off and slack too much, then in the future that gives you problems.
Yeah.
So
complacency.
You do have to just get on that and say, look, this is 2 weeks on the trot now. We've got to be better than this. And I do genuinely believe that we are the best auction room for a long way. A long, long way.
I agree.
And but there's a way to keep it there, and that some of these little things,
top of his game,
you do have to keep on top of it. Everything's changing in this industry all the time, and like we said the other week, there are people waiting in the wings to come and have a go at you, to try and take your place, to try and take over your business or be better than you, and the only way that can happen is if you let them.
Yeah, if you drop it off a bit.
I think also for me, I'm always mindful of the fact I have to be stronger than any other member of the team. I have to be stronger than any other member of the team because I am a female working very much in a man's world. And it still is a man's world. You see it week on week. So as a female working in this industry, you have to be a strong-willed female. You cannot be weak, because if you're weak, they would grind you down.
Bob, I think certain customers would certainly try and walk all over you, because certain customers do. They the ones that turn up at the door. I've got 20 lots booked in. Okay, right, we're up to 40 lots now. Well, we're not. You're up to 20. I've got another 20 lots yet. Well, hang on, you've only booked 20 in. Oh, well, another 20 won't matter.
No, it will.
It will, because we've booked the space out.
Yeah.
And, you sort of have to show things like that. But, I mean, overall, I think, your experience at Prestige now is certainly a lot better than it was in the early days. I think in the early days...
They're trained now, aren't they?
I just
They're all
think,
trained now.
I just think they've got used to me now, and it.
You only occasionally get probably some newer customers that are not sort of like fully aware of how we operate.
Yeah.
They'll probably try it on there.
Once it's been explained
Yeah.
I've got a question.
Okay.
What's going on with you and Tom in the challenge?
We're doing all right.
No, you're not.
No. Well, every time because of the jobs we do, we can never get. We have to leave commission bids, so we have to guess prices. Obviously, we leave our commission bids and we keep getting outbid. So.
Anyway, before we go any further,
well.
everybody, I just want to stop this video for 1 second for an extremely important announcement. Hi there, everybody. Sorry to have interrupted this video that we're showing you, but we just want to remind you all that to help our channel grow on YouTube, we need you to have subscribed. So if you can just take a second, just hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you are enjoying the content that we put out at Prestige Auctions, then please do that. We want to grow this channel just as big as we can. We can't do it without your help. So if you get that second, just do us a favour and hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Another thing that we need to look at as well is the fundraising that we're doing at the moment because of this music license. And I heard one or two people, well, one person actually say, "Why don't you just buy a music license?" Well, okay,
£800.
Yeah, £800 in a small business is a lot of money to find these days. So, but I can say that we sold the elephant picture last week.
Well,
and,
in 2 weeks we've got £71.
Yeah, and we're doing a name card this week. That should be coming through the post either today or tomorrow. That we've ordered offline, and that's going to be £3 to go. With I think it's £150, £150 or what? £200 to winner. I don't know what it is.
Any donations this week? Any donations?
There is something in the auction room because I've got music license vendor.
Yeah, so 1 or 2 people have done that, and I think that. We should have actually grabbed some not solds this week because we need to do a not solds boot sale, don't we? That would be quite funny. Bit of filming on that as well. But I know you don't really get so involved with all the filming and stuff, do you, Lisa? It's
not my thing.
I don't think it's a case of it's not your thing because we've watched you do some fantastic filming on live from the living room and that.
It's never on purpose, though, is it?
But I think also
the lockdown ones.
Apart from the lockdown ones.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, but I was like that.
It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just one of them things.
I don't really take
as gobby as I am, as mouthy as I am, and as outgoing as I am.
It's all right for you. You've been like your face is always on Flogget and you're always on telly.
It's not for me. This has took a lot for me to come on here this afternoon.
I just don't really think anything of it, and I think that probably a lot of that comes from my DJing days and stuff. It's just something you get used to.
Stand up at the front every week, and it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah,
well, easy. You get used to it.
I'll never forget day one of this auction when the office was just here, where the jewellery counter is now. I walked out and there's this dealer that I know out there, and he says, "Oh, you've done it then?" He says, "Who you got auctioneering?" And I went, "Me." He went, "You ever done it before?" I just went, "Can't be that difficult, can it?" And that is literally how I went into it, wasn't it? I just got up there with the sheets and just did it. And we've actually still got a video of week one, and I was like, God, when you look at the room and everything, it was.
But it's where we started.
Yeah, it was different, and
I said, don't ever ask me to auctioneer because I will never ever go up there and auctioneer.
Now look at you.
Yeah.
I'm still like that.
You're the fastest auctioneer in the West.
Yeah, forever behind.
Yeah. Call on me.
Well, I mean, we could do the other option, I suppose, where we. Oh, hang on, I switched the mic off. Then we could do the other option where we just don't put you up there and just say not sold for the next 300 lots.
But we do need another auctioneer.
We do. I mean, when we're looking at the future plan of the business, which we have been discussing in detail quite a lot just recently, there is a possibility that whatever happens in the future, we may need to take on a couple of apprentices, because I strongly believe that Lisa needs somebody as well. There's got to be something at some point to take the pressure off.
Somebody that can cover a few different jobs.
Yeah, that can take the pressure off. Answering phones, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Office assistants, and maybe an auction room assistant, somebody that learns a bit of the auctioneering, does a bit of the editing. But you've got, if you want to keep your business going to the future. I mean, I'd love to think that Prestige will carry on going over generations. That's what's got to be everybody's wish. When we're dead and gone, that the Prestige name carries on and the family are on it. And, so you create sort of generational business and a generational wealth for your family. That's surely what business has got to be about on it. Or is it just about earning a living? I don't know.
You're building, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think it depends whether you want to leave a legacy or not, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is why when I said about putting the costs up and that we had to put our lotting fees up, because I didn't just want to become a business that just treads water. If we're not making some money, we can't invest any money. If you can't invest for the future, your business is dead already. Because then you'll just become complacent, boring, and people will stop coming.
I still think I had a really good idea for another auctioneer. It was like a karaoke night, but an auctioneer night. You set it up. Everybody.
That's the interview.
Yeah, well, everybody has a go. If you have a few cans, whatever, and just do it like a bit of a laugh. But somebody will have a little bit of a groove, won't they?
When we look at things like that as the Prestige community, as we call it,
I can't stop yawning.
It's about our customers, and we like to do this community bit. I was actually in the van the other day. I do have all my best thoughts in the van, I think, when I'm driving round to quotes and that. And I was actually thinking about what we discussed last year about having sort of a Prestige night at somewhere like Wilton Fields or whatever, and we never got it off the ground.
Oh, like
did
that
we?
stars in your eyes.
Yeah, and maybe they're the nights where you can do your bit of fundraising you need for the extra things. Would enough people support it? Tell us, everybody. Would you, if we did put nights on, would you support it? Leave us a comment and just say, if you would support some things that would do, if we did the odd thing on an evening, maybe twice a year or whatever, just to break up the monotony, because so many people out there get on, don't they?
Show bar.
The show bar. Anyway. Well,
any more questions?
No, I don't think there's any more questions for you. I think what I'm going to say, Lisa, is it's been very nice having you on the podcast for a change. Everyone just sees the Lisa that's out there, that's ordering people around on intake day, that's having to go at me on every other day, and doing a bit of auctioneering on a Saturday. And of course, that one bit of great auctioneering you did, where do you just want to give us one or two of the noises while you're on?
No, not today.
No, just say one thing. Just go, I am your father.
No.
Come on.
That's world famous now, that, isn't it?
Come on. Just give it. I am your father. Come on.
No, I can't do it just off the... No, I have to, I have to be in the moment.
It was the face that you did. It was like, I am your father.
How many times has that been watched now?
Oh, thousands. I sometimes watch it just to cheer myself up. It was absolutely brilliant. So, Chris, have you got anything you'd like to ask the lovely Lisa while she's on?
I was going to ask people about their storage today.
Well, you was, yeah. I forgot about that.
My place is rammed, absolutely rammed with stuff, and now I've downsized to a caravan. I haven't got the same amount of storage. But I'm going to ask you about how's Carl's storage situation at home?
Terrible.
Is there anything in the house? Or have you got a house? Is it a clear, clutter-free zone?
No, the house is clear.
You've
got to have it, and you've got to have a safe space.
Yeah. No, the house is clear. It's took me, I would say, 20 years to get to that point.
Everything's out.
Everything's out.
The thing is, I think the point that Chris is making here, and we discussed this before we went and started recording today, is that everybody that gets into this industry ends up with a load of stuff. And what Chris is going to ask is this.
Send me some pictures.
Chris wants to know what everybody else is up against.
Send some pictures of your storage.
I'll go home tonight and I'll text some pictures of our storage.
Well, no. I think what we're going to do is we're going to put some pictures together. If anyone wants to send the pictures in of their storage of items they've bought from the auction room, whether they're buying and selling or just hoarding or whatever they're doing, get us some pictures, message them over to us, and then this 1 week we'll do a thing where
Pal's a hoarder.
I'm not a hoarder.
You are.
No, I'm absolutely not.
Absolutely is.
I have seen your storage.
He's a hoarder, isn't he?
It's the same as mine.
There's no structure to it.
No, it's exactly the same as mine.
Drives me mad. I won't go in there.
When you sell something and you can't find it.
Yeah. Well, everything that's in the house is just a home now. It wasn't like that for many, many years. But now he's got his own place that's got all his stuff in, but it's...
Has he got a little track down the middle that you can just get your feet through?
He's got a square as you go in the door.
Yeah, it's not good at the moment. But I think the thing is, because you do sort of... But what I like about that is I've always been the sort of person that likes surprises, right? So when you eventually sort it out after 3 or 4 years, you find things you forgot you had. And they're nice surprises, aren't they?
Yeah, because you can sell them then and you forgot about them, so you get all the money.
So anyway, there you go. That's the sort of thing we want you to do. We want you to send some pictures to us of your storage, and let's see what everybody else is. But is it just us? Is it just me and Chris? Anyway, everybody, thank you ever so much for watching All Things Auction, the podcast. We've had a great one today, having a chat with the lovely Lisa and, of course, our Chris. And we've got a fantastic auction for you tomorrow. So if you are watching this on Friday night, don't forget to get yourself down to Prestige Auctions. We open at 8 in the morning. Auction starts at 9 o'clock with lot number 1, which is that fantastic car that we've got in this week's auction. So anyway, before we go any further, let's say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
Say goodbye, Lisa.
Bye-bye.
Lisa.
Lisa.
We'll see you all very soon at the auction.